Ladies and gentlemen, we're here.
I'm part of the Kliq, isn't everybody?
Yes! 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 I got an idea, yeah. Beat up John Cena!
Give me a hell yeah!
Oh, a little bit of the bubbly.
This is where the power lies!
I am the man.
If you can survive! It's showtime, folks!
The following episode is scheduled for one fall, and it is for your listening pleasure. This is In The Kliq.
What's up, everybody? Baby Huey here, and joining me once again is my good brother from the Bullet Cast, is Philip. How's it going, Philip?
Huey, it's Saturday night. I've watched Full Gear. You are still the Bullet Cast champion. I was listening to Michael Jackson before this. Do you know what Michael Jackson, Levi Shapiro, and I all have in common?
Wow. I mean, besides,
We're all timeless.
Wow. I walked into that one. I definitely walked into that one.
How you doing, bud? I mean, we haven't done a podcast together in like 3 weeks, bro. It's been a little bit.
I know. I'm sorry. I apologize. So in case anyone's listening right now who did not catch our Instagram live earlier today, which, by the way, that was a lot of fun. That was my second time doing an IG live over on In The Kliq's Instagram page, which is why you should follow us at In The Kliq on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. We do our best to just, put a lot of posts out there covering all aspects of professional wrestling. But earlier today, we did an Instagram live, you and I doing our predictions for AEW Full Gear, which is what this episode's all about. I'm sure that's why you clicked on the podcast to listen to it and download it right now, which, by the way, please subscribe to In The Kliq on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you like to listen to your podcast. And, so today, we did our predictions beforehand. And so, like I said, this is going to be our full review of AEW's big pay-per-view today, Full Gear. We'll get into it as far as breaking down the show itself, breaking down all the matches, what we liked, what we didn't like, the highlights, some lowlights, all that good stuff. But yeah, which another reason why you need to follow us on Instagram. Earlier today, we did our predictions. It was a lot of fun. It was our second time that I've done it. I did one. I looked it up. It was back end of August. It was talking about TakeOver 31, I think it was, predictions, and looking ahead to the WWE draft and like predicting who's going to go to Raw or SmackDown. And it was a lot of fun. I think it's a great way to interact with the Kliqsters out there, get some interaction, social interaction, for the algorithm and whatnot. And so you and I today it was my second time doing it. And it was a lot of fun, and that video also got shared on our YouTube page and then put that on Facebook and Twitter as well. So, man, it was good talking to you earlier today. Here we are, round 2 for today, talking about AEW Full Gear, and a lot of stuff to talk about, man. But as I mentioned earlier on the Instagram Live, I do apologize for lack of AEW presence or coverage on this podcast. A lot going on this past week with, I work at 107.7 The Bone, and we're the flagship of the Niners. Had a lot of stuff with the Niners going on this week with the Thursday night game. And then also with the election stuff going on, all the coverage. It was just mentally draining, everything going on. Even though today, finally, we have a day to celebrate. Congrats once again to Biden and Harris being elected into office. But the week before, like, not to get too personal, but it was a lot of, like, quote, adulting stuff I had to take care of, like stuff at work, benefits, and car repair stuff, and some other stuff. Like I said, I don't want to bore you guys with all that. Listen, we're all got our own personal stuff to deal with. So it was just a lot going on the last couple of weeks. So finally, now we can take a deep breath, breathe again. So, but no, Philip, I have missed talking to you on a weekly basis. So I think moving on forward now, let's get back into the groove of things. I'm all for that.
Or, you can just get rid of Richard and keep me on WWE podcasts and people can get a double dose of the Messiah.
Wow. Maybe you guys got to battle out like Jericho and MJF. Winner moves on to In The Kliq solely. The other one out.
Hey, I'll beat him. I'll bring the Bulletcast Nation with me. Oh, man. We'll be unstoppable.
You're going to walk out with that championship, hit him in the head, knock him out, go for a roll-up pin or something.
Oh, no. I mean, if I'm going to hit him with a title, I'm going to be old school about it, brother.
Wow. So wait, where'd you get that NWA television championship?
Are you ready? Take a guess. Take a wild guess.
Honestly, did Zicky Dice just give it to you?
No, I mean, Zicky and I, we are tight like that. But the Pope has the real one.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
Wait, so where
Amazon.
What?
Yeah, dude.
No way.
Yes, sir.
What? That's awesome.
I know. It was pretty cheap, too.
So the one you have, I know you and I were filming this right now. I don't think this might see the light of day other than for you and I just to look at each other. I've almost got the full office set up here at the Casa de Del More for doing the podcast solely from here now. I got to get a couple more equipment related stuff, but I think I'll be able to start doing some more video streaming in the near future. But yeah, in the video, if we should save this for a future video, but for me, I'm watching you right now, so I can see the title. The strap is red, and I mean, because there's different variations of the NWA TV title. I know the one that was currently lasting like on NWA Power. It had the black strap, if I remember correctly, and then on Primetime Live when Zicky dropped it to the Pope, that had the red strap. So I like, not to break kayfabe, but I was like, is that the real one that we saw in NWA Power that Zicky had to drop, or was that another one that they had to use? Maybe the one he wore on TV is somewhere in Atlanta, Georgia, and so they had to use a temporary one for the show. Like, I have all these questions, and I don't know if anyone will actually tell me the truth and break kayfabe.
Well, his promo pictures from when he first won the title back in, what was it, January then?
Yeah.
The title was red, so it's...
Was that red?
Yeah, it's the same one. Plus, if you go back to like the 80s when Tully had it, it was red. So, that's kind of the historical contents with it.
And that's what even kind of inspired Tony Khan when he brought in the AEW TNT Championship. He wanted the red strap as kind of paying tribute to the NWA TV title. So that's why we've been seeing the red strap since its debut on earlier this year on Dynamite and whatnot. So, no, it's very cool, dude. That's awesome that you have that. It's, I know for me, it's, where did I put it? There's somewhere over here. You saw it earlier on the Instagram Live, my own AEW toy championship, and I got the old Wing Eagle WWE championship from the 80s and 90s in the house. But I've thought about maybe one day I'll get like an actual championship or something. Like, if I had to get one, either it would be the Wing Eagle championship or the Attitude Era WWE championship, because those are like two from my childhood and teenage years. So I think we had the discussion before, right? Like best looking title design. So one day I will actually maybe buy one for the household here, and then have it for future videos and whatnot. So, but no, once again, Philip, it's really cool to talk to you once again. Miss you, and a lot to talk about. AEW Full Gear 2020 is in the books now. And like we always do, we kind of give our initial thoughts, and then we'll go down through the card. And so let's just jump right into it, man. So yeah, your initial takeaways, how you're feeling post show, and just how you think the show was overall.
Well, I thought it was better than All Out. I can go on record and say that.
Yeah.
I gave it a B overall. I give grades over on the BC.
Okay.
I give it a B. I thought it was cool. For 3 hours and like 40-something minutes, it did move at a nice pace. Mm-hmm. It really did. I mean, there was some slow, clunky stuff, which we are going to talk about once we start talking about matches. But overall, I thought it was cool. I thought it was very good.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think overall, the vibe and the energy and the pacing was so much better compared to All Out 2 months ago. I felt this show, just from start to finish, had a great lineup. Even going before the show started, looking online, a lot of people were predicting, is this the best top to bottom lineup of matches for an AEW pay-per-view in their short existence of as a company in the last year and a half. And arguably it is, as far as like all-star recognizable big names. I think so. And a lot of the matchups are some dream matchups we've been wanting for a while now. So from that standpoint, it's arguably, the best lineup of talent on one show under the AEW umbrella, which is great. I thought the matches overall, most of them were awesome and very hard hitting. Competition was great. Of course, once again, AEW. So backtrack. In this pandemic era, to WWE's credit, their pay-per-views or WWE Network events, whatever you want to call it, they been really tight as far as keeping it under 3 hours from start to finish, from the 4 o'clock start time here on the West Coast and wrapping it up by 7 p.m. our time at the latest. I love that. It's going to be 3 hours. They've been very consistent from start to finish. AEW, their pay-per-views have averaged almost about 4 hours on a regular basis, and that's not counting the buy-in. So today, the buy-in started 4 o'clock our time. The main show started at 5 p.m. our time here on the West Coast, and then wrapped up at I think it was about almost 9 o'clock, like 8:45, roughly. So, Philip, we had like almost 5 hours, 4 hours and 45 minutes of like AEW content today. So it's definitely a lot to sit through and take up a large portion of your day. But we made it through it. Maybe they just feel, since it's a pay-per-view, they want to give you the best bang for your buck. But it's definitely a little bit long. And there's a couple of matches I wish they kind of maybe kept to the buy-in and just to kind of cut down the main show. But I'm with you. Overall, I think it went by much faster compared to All Out as far as length and whatnot. So let's just go ahead and jump into it. So the buy-in, it only had one match this time around. All Out, they had two matches. This one, they only had one. It was Serena Deeb, who's the current NWA Women's Champion, taking on Allison Kay. And Serena Deeb got the victory here, retained the championship. But overall, I love this match. How about you?
I gave it a C+. Okay. I thought it was fine. Glad Serena Deeb's really starting to show off what she can do. I mean, the most notable thing she did was the Straight Edge Society, like we talked about earlier on in the Instagram Live.
Yeah.
But we all knew Allison Kay wasn't going to win. She's no longer with the NWA. She's a free agent. With that being said, Tony Khan signed her up because you need talent. You need talent in the women's division.
Yeah, that's something we mentioned earlier on the Instagram Live. Is like I seen this on Instagram, or on Twitter. Was in some ways this is kind of maybe like a tryout for Allison Kay for AEW. So it was kind of interesting. This match was kind of announced this past week, and also Allison Kay announced that she's a free agent, and it doesn't make sense that she just announced she left NWA to be a free agent and all of a sudden be in a title match for that championship. It wouldn't make sense for her to win it right back and go back to a company she just left from. So that kind of, I think, foreshadowed that she wasn't going to win here from a booking standpoint. But more or less, like I said, it was just, I think, an opportunity for her to perform in front of an AEW audience and for management there. And I loved it. I mean, I love Allison Kay. Like, I love her size. Like, she's tall, she's hard hitting. And Serena Deeb, who's a very technical wrestler. And we all know Serena Deeb, very talented. She was most recently a teacher or over at the Performance Center for WWE before she got let go. And so she knows her stuff. And so the two of them, I love the clashing of styles. And so I thought it was just a great kind of opening match just to kind of kick things off for the night. And like you said, Tony Khan, you need to sign Allison Kay because I think she would be an amazing upgrade for that women's division. The women's division needs a lot of help right now. So I think adding her, having Serena Deeb there. Also at the end, we saw Thunder Rosa come out and point at the NWA championship and have a little stare down and talking back and forth with Serena Deeb. So is this going to lead to like another match between the two of them for the NWA Women's Championship? on AEW television. So this is something we mentioned earlier, was like, it's funny how AEW is giving more time and storyline to the NWA Women's Championship than their own in-house championship with Kushida, and we'll get into that more with her respective match later in the card. So it's just a little funny observation for me that I noticed. So, but I'm still excited. If we can get Allison Kay, Thunder Rosa on AEW television on a regular basis, I'm all for it. Sign them up. Do what you got to do. I know Thunder Rosa, it was announced she's on a contract through 2021. So, but for Serena Deeb, right there, the three of them, that makes your women's division a lot stronger. So let's jump into the main show for the night. And kind of a shocker for me, as far as this being the first match of the main show. It's Kenny Omega taking on his former tag team partner, Hangman Adam Page, for the finals of the AEW World Championship Eliminator Tournament. And man, I don't know about you. I mean, it's one of my favorite matches of the night. Talk about just hard hitting and just starting to show off with a bang. Like, I really like how they just both came out swinging. A lot of motion, you could tell, was being poured out. They were, I think, kind of leaving it all out there in the opening match. What'd you think of this show or this match?
It was a nice way to start off the show. You know, get one of the bigger matches out of the way. But as I texted you, I thought it was kind of underwhelming. You know, I gave it a B. If they had gone about like 5, 6, 7, 8 more minutes and really hit that upper echelon that these two guys are used to hitting, then I would have given it an A. It would have been a barn burner. They had me believe that Hangman was going to kick out of the one-winged angel. Just kind of like his the way his leg was covering his arm, mm-hmm. He wasn't like truly like putting all his weight on him. I'm like, oh wait, are we gonna see an upset here? But no, that didn't happen. All in all, Kenny Omega, the best bout machine, the cleaner. He's the number one contender for the AEW World Title. Don Callis from Impact Wrestling on commentary. So AEW in this night alone worked with NWA and Impact Wrestling, and of course they worked with New Japan earlier in the year with Jon Moxley and Chris Jericho. AEW's on the right track.
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up. So also at the start of the match, it was announced Don Callis was there joining them on the commentary desk and said Kenny Omega invited him as his guest, which was awesome. But the fact that they had the Impact Wrestling EVP name under his name there, the job title, and you know, even Jim Ross says, hey, you guys are doing a great job with everything over Impact Wrestling. So for them, that was a great little plug, advertisement for Impact Wrestling. And I tweeted this out earlier. I mean, the fact that AEW has publicly acknowledged NWA, Impact, New Japan, it's I think it's great from, you know, kind of similar to the old school territory days where different territories will work together. And so in 2020, I think it's very similar. And hopefully maybe one day, you know, if they're all, you know, on good terms, maybe they can put on like a big super show together, all these promotions working together and have these like fantasy dream matches take place and whatnot. I think it'd be very cool. So I think it's just cool. Like, listen, in pro wrestling, I think for me, in the majority of my life, it's always been WWE and no one else. I mean, if you watch WWE long enough, you know they don't acknowledge anyone else. If you had history outside of WWE, they don't talk about it. They might reference the country that you used to wrestle in a lot in, but they don't talk about anything, your backstory, whatnot.
That's so true, because, I mean, when AJ Styles first got to WWE, he was born, he learned how to wrestled in Japan for a little bit, now he's here.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of stuff. And I'm like, I was born in 96. I started watching wrestling in 04. Yeah. WWE's all I know. And, of course, like, I discovered Impact a few years in, but, like, that's the biggest company that I know. That's the only game. And for this company to acknowledge all these other companies and these talents and their past history with different guys and in promotions, and not even like just New Japan and stuff, like they were talking about Silver and Orange Cassidy, which we're going to get into. Oh, they've wrestled once before at this indie show on this date here. I'm like, that's cool to me.
Yeah.
We need to, like, they're not like, oh, this is the first time ever they're doing it. No, like, they've done this before.
Well, it's very much like, I think WWE tries to control their own narrative, and that they're the only game in town, that they're the only promotion in their own universe, in their own world. And so like it's interesting that for WWE, it's like all they ever talk about is what your time in WWE, what you've done there. Like, look at Finn Balor. I mean, God, he had a huge run in New Japan. He started the Bullet Club. They never talk about that. They said, yeah, he wrestled in Japan. That's it. And so, I mean, I guess I kind of understand the strategy behind that. It's like, we're not going to promote the competition. We're not going to talk about them. We're the biggest company in the world. Everyone else is below us. We don't need to talk about it. We don't want to lose any eyeballs to anywhere else. I get that. But at the same time, you got to realize the fans are smart and they know that there's other promotions out there. We all have different interests. We all like different promotions for different reasons. And so at least for AEW's credit, they're acknowledging other promotions. And I think that's cool. And I respect that. And it just shows that they all can get along. They all can exist. Like, I have friends at other radio stations, and I love talking to them about their jobs there at different stations, what goes on there. We all can be friends. We all can get along. I know at the end of the day, there is competition. You know, everyone is trying to be the top dog of their respected industry. But at the same time, I think this world needs just more friendly existence. Everyone can be friends. I think for AEW, like I said, it's just cool that they are, I don't want to say like a working agreement, but at least they take the time and work together, and people can do stuff together and appear at different places and whatnot. So Don Callis can appear at this show. Other guys can appear over in New Japan. So I think it's great for the business as a whole. People appearing on NWA. I think it's just great. It just shows, one, they are independent contractors in some way, so they should have the freedom to go wherever they want. So I think it's great. And I hope AEW keeps going on with this, because then it helps everyone else thrive. And if the other promotions can exist, and it helps improve them as a company, and maybe gets them can last a little bit longer, then it gives people more opportunity to wrestle in other places, and everyone can make money and just succeed at this. So I'm all for that. For the match itself, man, I thought it was very hard hitting. It was very intense. You could tell that they both are pissed off at each other, so they're just laying it into it. Kenny Omega got the victory with his finisher. I'm with you, though. I really felt like I thought it was going to go on for like 30 minutes or something. And so I was anticipating it to go on a little bit longer. So when the match ended when it did, I was like, oh man, they easily could have done like an extra 5-10 minutes, and no pun intended, gone into that next gear. But they never did. So I don't know if because they kind of held back because they are the opener, so they didn't want to take time off from anyone else on the show. Overall, I did enjoy it. And, Kenny Omega is now the new number one contender, and will be taking on the champion at a later date. So that's going to be fun to see. And then Hangman Adam Page, where does he go from here? I'm sure he's going to be a little bit, down on himself. And that's probably going to be a storyline for a little bit of how he's going to try to collect himself and get some new confidence, and hopefully get a big run soon. So we shall wait and see. Next up was Orange Cassidy taking on John Silver of the Dark Order. This originally was going to be on the buy-in, but it got bumped up. I don't know about you, Philip. I mean, it was a good match for what it was. It didn't necessarily blow me away. I tweeted this out. I think it could easily just stayed on the buy-in. I know Orange Cassidy, he's been getting a lot of attention over the last couple months with his rivalry with Chris Jericho, getting a lot of TV time on Dynamite. And so maybe they thought having him on the buy-in was kind of a little bit of a backwards momentum. They want to keep that momentum going, have him appear on the main show. But I don't know. I just felt like this build-up was this match was kind of thrown together. And if that's the case, it should stay on the buy-in. I mean, I'm a big fan of John Silver, and I thought he performed great, even though he lost. Orange Cassidy picked up the victory here. I thought John Silver, though, showed off his strength. The two of them were very entertaining, trying to show some comedic styles back and forth. I felt like this was a very indie match, a match you would see on the indie scene. So I don't know about you, but for John Silver, I'm just happy for him that he got a moment to shine on this large stage of this pay-per-view. He does great things on Being the Elite if you watch him there, and it's going to be interesting. One question I did have, though, Brody Lee, he wasn't there. I didn't see him, so that was kind of interesting. No Brody Lee presence on this show, but what'd you think of this match?
Orange Cassidy versus Johnny Hungry, or the Meat Man, as he's now known. Go check out the buy-in, kids. It could have. Hell, this could have just been on Dynamite. Honestly,
yeah.
With the whole pay-per-view model they're going for, not everybody gets a spot to shine.
Mm-hmm.
Use the takeover model, 5 matches.
Yeah.
All your titles and then one non-title that has a meaningful, or you can throw 6, whichever one. Mm-hmm. I mean, on the main show alone, there were 8 matches. That's way too many.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't WrestleMania, guys.
yeah, I know, exactly. Listen, I know they only have 4 pay-per-views a year, which I respect. I love that model of like a pay-per-view every 2 to 3 months, like once a quarter. It gives that much more value, importance of these pay-per-view. It's like they don't happen that often, so when they do happen, it's going to be a big deal. It's going to be very important matchups. But like I said, this matchup, like you said, easily could have been like on the first hour of an episode of AEW Dynamite. So, I mean, both guys are awesome, respectively, but yeah, at best, buy-in. So, and yeah, it could have kept the main show to 8 matches only. So, it did its job. Orange Cassidy, cool, got the victory. Best friends came in, hugged him. So, good for them. And yeah, so we'll see what happens next for them. Next up was Darby Allin taking on Cody Rhodes for the TNT Championship. Darby Allin, like, by the way, before I forget, I really enjoyed the video packages for each match, kind of like, summarizing what's been going on to get to where we're at now. I just love all of them. I felt like from a story standpoint, beautifully shot, put together, the music, all of it. It was really cool. And so for this match, we got to see a lot of the Darby Allin stuff and their history together and all the skateboard montages and whatnot. I love how he came out to the ring with the car and he smashed the window and it said the face of TNT. That's kind of like the big story here of like Cody is like the Prince of Pro Wrestling, and Darby Allin's kind of like the complete 180, the opposite, like rebel, punk rocker, skateboarder, black and white paint. Like, he would not fit the prototype of what the face of AEW on TNT should be. So that's the story they're telling here. Cody had his big, pop entrance. Very dramatic. What do you think of his new dramatic style entrance since he's been back? Where it's like we get into the music, but first it's like the red, dark, the lights go down, the red light, and it's like the very dramatic entrance.
It's very ominous, and I like that. I do like that. For the longest time, he had the wrestling as more than one royal family thing.
Yeah.
Like at indie shows, but I love it. And Cody Rhodes got his last name back, baby.
Yeah.
You learn to love it. I thought it was really cool, and with this whole introduction, he's the TNT champion, the Prince of Pro Wrestling, the American Nightmare, Cody. Like it felt big, and Cody's matches always do feel big. But all in all, with this match, I gave it a B+.
Mm-hmm.
I did because they've been telling his story over the last couple weeks of Arn being the coach and telling his arrogant wrestler, "Hey, don't get cocky out there. Get serious." And me as a coach, I can relate to that. I've had moments where I've had to tell a kid on the mat, "Hey, get serious."
Yeah.
And it's cost them like it did Cody here.
Yeah.
He got too arrogant, didn't really take Darby seriously, and boom. Now Darby Allin is the champion of America's Greatest Network. Yeah,
I actually stepped out of the room, so they were kind of rolling each other up, right? And then finally Darby held him down long enough to get the pin there. Is that what happened?
Yeah. He got him. He got him. Got too cocky, made a mistake, got caught.
Yeah, because I saw earlier, like, he was doing the push-ups and all that stuff, and Arn's like, dude, stop that. Like, focus on the match. Get the victory. Don't be, like, BSing around. For you doing push-ups, you could be attacking him more. So I get all that. So it's very interesting, and I wonder if that's going to lead to some more tension between Arn and Cody. And I know Cody keeps teasing maybe a heel turn at some point. Maybe this will lead to it finally now. Who knows? But, we shall wait and see.
I want to throw this out here to you.
Okay.
The American Nightmare Cody can't challenge for the AEW title.
Oh, yeah.
but can Cody Rhodes?
I'm glad you said that. So yeah, I geeked out too. So we mentioned on the IG Live earlier today. So it came out. Cody was able to get the rights back to the Cody Rhodes name fully. So he can now go by Cody Rhodes. He said, I think it was the media call the other day, that he doesn't necessarily maybe want to use Cody Rhodes in the ring, but instead for more like outside of the ring projects. So like when he does TV work or movies or anything else, he can go by Cody Rhodes there. But maybe not necessarily for in the ring. He says he likes how Roberts says the American Nightmare Cody. So now, but then see at the pay-per-view tonight, Roberts said the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes. So he said Cody Rhodes. So maybe Cody said that a couple days ago just to kind of downplay it and maybe trick us into thinking, oh, we're not going to hear it at Full Gear. But sure enough, when we do hear it, it was that much more special. So maybe that was his way of kind of tricking people to make them not just assume that was going to be the case. But when he said it, I marked out so hard. I was so happy to hear Cody Rhodes finally being announced on AEW television.
I mean, have you ever heard anybody pop louder for a name than the crowd?
No.
There are about 1,000 people there, but you could hear it.
Yeah, and by the way, that's the other thing too. So yeah, it was 1,000 people. Is that the largest that they have allowed in to Daly's Place for an AEW show thus far in this pandemic?
Yeah, because the beginning was like 500.
Yeah,
and they've gradually gotten bigger.
But tonight, there's been times on Dynamite, like I feel like I don't hear the audience that much. Tonight, you heard them. They were very much part of the show, and even going to jumping ahead to Jericho's entrance. I mean, you heard them tonight. They had a strong presence there. So I don't know if they just were better mic'd up. They were piping in some noise. I don't know. It's just I felt the audience tonight did a great job of showing people that they were there, making their presence felt. But yeah, so for Cody losing the TNT Championship, kind of a shocker because he just won it back from Brody Lee a few weeks ago. So I don't know. I mean, I'm happy for Darby Allin, and now hopefully he'll get some more TV time on TNT, and he can go on a new program with some people there. Cody, I don't know what's next for him though. Like, is it going to explore more of the options of being like being too cocky now, and he's like too busy focusing on other things and not enough on wrestling? What's that going to leave with him and Arn Anderson? Also, we saw Taz and crew come out to the ring. So Taz, along with Brian Cage and Ricky Starks, come out, make their presence felt, jump both of them, but they both grabbed the title, a little bit of a tug of war. I thought that was a little interesting. They take Darby Allin, they're beating him up, and they're going to attempt to like break his arm in the car door of the car that he came out in, but out to come save the day was our boy, the Bay Area Zone, former APW star, Will Hobbs. Came out with a chair to make the save. So I geeked out super hard for Will Hobbs. I thought it was cool. He was able to make a cameo on Full Gear tonight. And that's the other thing too. There was a lot of people who made appearances on Full Gear. So even if they weren't in matches, you got to see a lot of the roster tonight. So Will Hobbs, even Lance Archer and Jake the Snake cut a promo at one point. Private Party, which we'll get into, Santana Ortiz. So a lot of people who didn't have scheduled matches still were able to make an appearance on the show. So it was very much a great representation of the AEW roster. So I was all excited for that. Next up for the AEW Women's Championship, it was Hikaru Shida defending against Nyla Rose. I mean, I hate to say it, but Philip, I kind of felt this was, worst match of the night. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I gave it a C-. It was clunky. It was slow.
Yeah.
Vicky, I know she had to do her job, but she shouldn't have bumped off of that light tap that Nyla Rose gave her. And look, dude, I'm super high on Nyla. I love Nyla Rose.
Yeah.
I thought she should have been the first women's champion, you know?
Yeah.
There was kind of like a ha-ha moment where Shida tries to pin her, but she pulls her up like what Nyla's been doing to her competitors over the last couple of weeks, but there's I didn't feel it. This let me down.
Yeah, this match, like, I'm a big Shida fan. I'm a big fan of both of them, her and Nyla Rose. Like, I think they've been the two consistent badasses for this women division that's been really poor over the last year. they've been two of the bright spots, and I'm with you. I think Nyla Rose should have been the first champion when they crowned it last year. No offense to Rio. Rio was hardly around. But unfortunately, I think they're doing the same thing for Shida. Shida's hardly been having a presence over the last few weeks. This match was thrown together last minute. They didn't have much interaction in the ring. And, it was funny. Like, for the video package, all the stuff that they were showing was from, like, Double or Nothing. And that was almost 6 months ago. So it just shows, I mean, you and I know this, that they didn't have any new footage to work with because they did a terrible job building up this match. So that's why I didn't really care emotionally about this one.
I mean, look, I'm going to put it to you like this. It's time for Britt Baker to extract the woman's title from Hikaru Shida. See what I did there? Extract?
Yeah, I
because
see
she's
what you
a
did.
dentist.
Yeah.
Dental humor. You got to love it.
But yeah, I'm with you. It's like, I mean, I'm happy Shida retained. I was kind of feeling maybe Nyla Rose was going to win just to give it off her. I know she's a more charismatic personality, so that way maybe kind of put some life into that division, so that way she could be on Dynamite and talk. But I think for Shida, they got to do more with her. Okay, now that she's retained, get her back on TV. Like, no offense to the NWA Women's Championship, the amount of time and energy put into that, put that into your own women's title. Unless, I don't know, I was thinking maybe they're gonna, oh my God, what's the name? When you put two titles together,
Unify.
Maybe they're gonna unify them. I don't know. I mean, I hope not, because I think NWA should exist on their own. AEW should do their own thing. But no, for the women's division, they need to start doing more with her and start making Shida more charismatic. Give her something to do. Give her some storylines. Cut more promos, or maybe, let her speak in Japanese and have a translator. I know she's trying to learn English, and I give her credit. I respect that. But maybe let her talk like Asuka does. Asuka does a lot of her promos in Japanese. Maybe let Shida do some of that in Japanese, and you have a translator or something. I don't know. I just want more from this women's division.
Bro, subtitles.
Yeah, something. There's so much you can do. And it's frustrating. Listen, I know they only got 2 hours once a week on TNT. I know they have AEW Dark, but I think the amount of people who watch that versus Dynamite is pretty small, if I had to guess. For Shida, as the Women's World Champion, she should be having a strong storyline develop on Dynamite. So they got to give her something to do. I can't stress that enough. Put her on Dynamite. Even if it's a promo here and there, a match here and there, someone attacks her, maybe Britt Baker could be the next challenger for it now. Something, give it something, and then start building around it. Remember, was it Chris Jericho said last year, for any promotion, specifically with AEW's launch, you need 6 strong main eventers to build around. And he was specifically talking about, I think, the men's division at the time, with Kenny, Cody, and all the first set of hires that they had last year. Apply that philosophy to the women's division. Okay, you got Shida, you got Nyla Rose, you got Britt Baker, sign Allison Kay, you got Serena Deeb, get Thunder Rosa in the mix. There's 6 right there.
Dude, you still have Ivelisse and Diamante.
Exactly. They were sitting ringside tonight.
Yeah, I mean, because you look at WWE's women's division, NXT, you have Io's the champion, Candice, Renee Gonzalez, Rhea Ripley, Mercedes Martinez. Raw, you look at the people that are there, SmackDown, Sasha's the champ, Bayley, Carmella now. You look at Natty, Riot Squad. You have people that you can throw in the mix.
Yeah.
Maybe Hikaru, maybe she needs a manager.
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, that's something.
Get Kenta Kobashi. I don't know, something.
Yeah, I mean, but as you said, Ivelisse and Diamante were ringside. Tay Conti, Anna Jay, the alien girl who got hurt,
Chris Statlander.
Yeah, so she'll be back hopefully, sometime maybe in this year, early next year.
Yeah, she was projected to be the next big thing, but then she got injured.
So they got a lot of women talent there. You just got to start making some compelling storylines,
and you need to build them up on Dynamite. Dark is not cutting it.
Correct. Dark is for maybe the real green talent.
You know what I'd like to see before Shida officially drops the title? I'd like to see Anna Jay get a shot.
Yeah.
Like it's November right now. Build her up in the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
Like the last episode of Dynamite for the year.
Yeah.
Anna Jay versus Hikaru Shida. You know, like just do something different.
Yeah, like feed Shida some people. Like, yeah, Anna Jay one week. Yeah, maybe Diamante another week. You know, every other week she has like a match. Like on NXT, like they'll spread out matches for different people. So Shida can have a match one week. The following week, maybe a promo. The following week, another match. Then another promo or a backstage altercation. You know, so like that's like 5 weeks of television right there. So there's so many different ways to have a presence on Dynamite. And if you start with her and work around that, that's how you start building up the women's division. I know earlier today we were talking about Tessa Blanchard. Dude, if you're able to get Tessa Blanchard and Thunder Rosa and Allison Kay signed up, that women's division skyrockets to arguably be one of the best as far as just natural talented. Now, storylines and all that stuff, that's a whole nother story. But, I mean, I'm just frustrated because I see the potential and I want it to succeed. You know, as a fan, I want it to succeed. I want this to happen. I want the women's division in AEW to be on par with WWE or NXT or Impact out there. So I just have a lot of passion for it. Nyla Rose did lose. We see Vicky Guerrero confront her in the ring. They were arguing, and she slaps her, and Nyla just took it and just shook her head and walked out with her. Your thoughts on that? Like, is Nyla like Vicky's taming the beast in some ways?
Hey, you know, Nyla, it's all leading to Nyla hitting a beast bomb on Vicky Guerrero. We know where this is going.
Yeah.
This is pro wrestling.
Yeah.
The manager or the manager or whatever.
Yeah.
They start talking trash to the person they're managing, and eventually it's kind of like with MJF and Wardlow. Eventually, we know Wardlow's going to turn on MJF.
Yeah, exactly.
So if that keeps happening, eventually Nyla's going to turn on Vicky Guerrero.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Next up for the AEW Tag Team Championships, it was FTR defending against the Young Bucks. We discussed it earlier. If Young Bucks lose, they will no longer be allowed to challenge for those tag titles. So very similar to the stipulation Cody Rhodes put in place last year when he took on Chris Jericho. So I think a lot of people were assuming Young Bucks were going to win because they would not let 2 years in a row their two top stars have that stipulation and not be able to challenge for the title ever again. Like Cody Rhodes, he lost last year. He can't challenge the AEW World Championship anymore. Luckily for him, the TNT Championship came about, and he's been more or less the face of that television title, that TV title, or the title itself. So, but like as I was predicting earlier, I was kind of thinking maybe Young Bucks win on a DQ, but FTR retains the title. So, it's kind of a little bit of a loophole there. It's like, well, Young Bucks did win, but they didn't win the titles. But then the commentators at one point did say if they don't win the titles, then they can never challenge them for again. So maybe they just heard a lot of people making that comparison about that. But dude, I mean, this might have been match of the night. I don't know about you. What were your thinkings of it?
This, as JR would say, is a slobber knocker. This was absolutely fantastic. I gave it an A+. It wasn't as good as the Bucks versus Kenny and Hangman at Revolution. Yeah, probably because there was a full capacity crowd before the world went to shit. But yeah, man, this was very good. I mean, you see a 3D, you see a Twist of Fate and a Swanton, you see moves from the Steiners, you see moves from the Hart Foundation, even DIY.
Yeah.
One of FTR's greatest rivals in WWE.
Yeah.
Just a combination of all these great tag teams from the past and then a very successful tag team from the present with two teams that have been argued who's the true best in the world coming together and putting on a very, very good match. And a super kick actually won a match.
I know, dude.
I was so happy.
Yeah, I mean, definitely this match, I think, was a love letter from both teams to pro wrestling and all the tag teams they grew up loving. So it definitely, I love between the two teams, all the callbacks and spots that were of other teams, great tag teams over the last couple decades. their moves and their spot sets. So it was a great way that they were acknowledging and calling back all these great tag teams and all the great moves that they've done over the years. So, like I said, it was a big love letter to just pro wrestling and the tag team division. As you said, you acknowledged all the tag teams. I geeked out hard when they did the DIY spot. I was like, whoa, like acknowledging FTR's like their best matches in WWE were against DIY at NXT. But the matchup here, the story that they were trying to tell that I really enjoyed was, okay, Young Bucks are known for their high flying. FTR, they're known for the
ground and pound,
the old school, the no flips, just fists mentality. And so, with that being said, Young Bucks were working their hands. At one point, we saw was it Dax? I'm trying to remember. Is it
it was.
Dax got like the bloody hand and went outside and got it taped up. And then like they were stomping on the hand. Matt Jackson, kayfabe has like a hurt ankle, but I think real talk, he has a busted knee. So they were working on the ankle during the match. That way he can like do a lot of high flying stuff. I loved it. A good like first half of the match. They were working half the ring. And Matt Jackson was stuck in their corner, and Nick wasn't coming in. He was like getting antsy, he wanted to come in, get that hot tag. Finally gets that hot tag. He comes in, saves the day. And that's kind of like Young Bucks' MO. Matt Jackson takes the beating. Nick Jackson gets the hot tag to save the day. So,
hey, Nick Jackson is one of the best hot tags in the business.
I know, dude. When he comes in,
it's like out of a video game.
Yeah. So I love that. Just all the spots. I mean, like for you and I growing up loving pro wrestling and just all the tag teams that they acknowledge with the different moves, I thought was so cool. And I mean, I the Steiner Brothers move that they did, the Road Warrior stuff. Even they both did the double sharpshooter at one point. That was great. I mean, it's just all these Easter eggs. That was so cool. But jumping to the end though, we see Cash Wheeler.
He goes for that springboard 450, and this is actually an Easter egg too. I don't know if you heard when FTR was on the Jericho podcast when they first left WWE, but they talk about their style, and Cash was like, "Yeah, man, I can do 450s and springboard moves and all that other stuff. I just don't. Maybe I'll break one out this year." And here we are. All these months later, he breaks one out, and it eventually costs them. They can't beat the Young Bucks at their regular ground and pound game, so let's try to beat them with their high flying game, and it costs them a springboard 450. He missed, super kick square on the chin, 1, 2, 3. Young Bucks are the AEW Tag Team Champions.
And then even at one point before that, Cash was trying to do a super kick as well, and he landed it, and then he tried to go for the splash and missed. So they broke their strategy, like the words that they live by, no flips, and they tried to do a flip, and it cost them the match. And it was amazing. Matt Jackson landed a super kick with no shoe on, right? It was just his bare sock on, and got a super kick in and won the match. And here they are. Young Bucks are the new champions. And like, congrats to them. I'm so happy for them. I'm a little bummed FTR kind of have like a short title reign. I mean, wait, when did they win it? Did they win it at All Out?
They won it, 2 months ago.
So it's only been about 2 months. So
they did quite a bit.
They made their debut, the night after Double or Nothing, or the Wednesday after Double or Nothing. So that was in May. So they've been with the company for about 5.5 months, I want to say, and champions for the last 2 months. That's right. It was All Out where they defeated, Hangman Kenny Omega. So, I enjoyed the title reign. I was kind of thinking it was going to be a little bit longer, but, something that came out, you and I were talking about was, kind of a bit of some, I don't know, interesting words that we could discuss is, let me pull it up real quick. So I think it was Cash. It
was Dax. It was Dax Harwood. He said, he tweeted out, physically and emotionally drained. To everyone who's been on this ride with us, thank you, top guys out. So, possibly they take a little bit of a break, and, they stress that, hey, they want to work like Japan. They want to work other places. I think Japan would be the nice spot to go to right now, because they have like somewhat full capacity crowds, and it'd be a different environment. I mean, them versus the Gorillas at Destiny? What?
Yeah. So that's interesting tweet right there. So maybe, because didn't they originally say it was like a handshake deal with AEW? Like, I know kayfabe on TV one week, remember they signed those contracts in front of Hangman Page and stuff. But real talk, maybe it was kind of just a short deal. Maybe it was like a 6-month deal or something with AEW, and because they didn't want like a long-term deal, because they really want to go out there and challenge other tag teams around the world and other promotions. So if you think about it, in this time period, this 5.5 month period, they took on the Young Bucks, they took on all the other great tag teams, they won the tag titles. So it's like, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. And then they go back on the road. So I'm with you. Maybe, I mean, I wish NWA was putting on shows. Maybe they can, eventually do something with NWA. Maybe Ring of Honor. Maybe they can challenge the North at Impact Wrestling at some point. Yeah, New Japan will be amazing. I think New Japan, don't they have like some big tag team tournament or something coming up soon? I'm not quite sure, but
they could pop in there.
Totally. So I think for them, they just want to have some possibilities to explore options out there. I mean, who knows? Maybe they want to go to Mexico. I don't know. Maybe over in the UK. I mean, I'm sure for them, they just want to go out there and just spread their wings and just show how awesome of a tag team they are. So I'm excited for them if that's their way of saying, we're going to step away from AEW. And who knows? I'm sure there's no bad blood there. So I'm sure they can easily come back to AEW at some point in the near future and, go after those tag titles again. So I think a lot of great things are in store for them. Next up was the Elite Deletion match, featuring Matt Hardy take on Sammy Guevara over at the Hardy compound in North Carolina. It was, wow. It was a cinematic match, which I think was good because considering how intense that tag title match was, I think for maybe the crowd in-house, it was kind of a good intermission. And I'm sure they just watched the match on the TV screen in there, the big screen there. But yeah, the cinematic match it was. Sammy Guevara traveled out to the Hardy compound and they had a fight out there. I was thoroughly entertained. How about you, Philip?
Oh, no, I enjoyed this, man. I mean, we saw Gangrel pop up, Santana and Ortiz, they came out there, the Private Party. We saw Hurricane Helms, which I thought WWE owned that character, but I guess not. He said, "What's up with that?" I popped for that. Sammy throws him in the lake in Rio of Carnation, right?
Yeah.
I would have popped if he came out as his character from 3 Count in WCW. I would have popped for that.
Well, that's the thing. So so Sammy pulls up in the golf cart. Matt runs it over with his monster truck, and then they fight in the dirt, in the trees, and then they eventually go to the ring that they had set up there. They're fighting there. Santana and Ortiz come out of nowhere, jump them, so it's 3-on-1. Private Party come out and save the day, so it's almost 3-on-3. So example of Santana Ortiz, Private Party, 2 tag teams that weren't booked for Full Gear, but had a presence felt on this pay-per-view. And it kind of turned into like a 3-on-3 match at that point. And then they're fighting, a lot of great spots there, high flying. The 2 tag teams are going at it while Hardy and Guevara get out of the ring. They're running. Sammy Guevara slips in some mud. I love how Matt tells him, "Get up. We don't want people to think this is a mud show." So a shot at Jim Cornette, because Jim Cornette likes to make fun of some of these smaller promotions or backyard shows. Call them, they're just mud shows out there. It was funny, Matt Hardy takes the fireworks and starts shooting them at Sammy Guevara, and Sammy had one, was trying to fire back. I will admit though, Philip, listen, we live here in the Bay Area. We had some wildfires the last couple years in the area in Northern California. So when I saw them shooting fireworks in a forest, I was a little worried. I was like, I hope, someone puts them out or they don't start a fire out there in North Carolina. I was just a little worried just because of where we live and what we see. So,
it was a non-flammable forest. Everything was okay.
And it looked like it was at nighttime and it looked a little wet out there. So maybe the dampness prevented from anything sparking up. So I was just, I was just like, I was trying to enjoy it, but the back of my head, just based on what we've experienced here in the Bay Area, I was like, no, be careful with those fireworks. But at one point, Hardy was kind of laying into Sammy when he fell. He shot him a few times in the ass, it looked like. And I like how he would shoot up in the sky and use the sparks to kind of put some light out there to see where he was going. So I thought it was a cool effect of using that as a weapon. But yeah, at the Lake of Reincarnation, I was hoping, so Gangrel and Shane or Hurricane comes out there and he says, like, I've been waiting for like 2 years. And he's like, long form storytelling. Do you know what the connection is? I apologize. Was it something in Impact Wrestling? Did they have some storyline there?
If that was Impact Wrestling, that'd be like 4 or 3 years ago.
Yeah. So I was a little lost with the reference. I'm sure.
I have no idea.
I'm sure some other wrestling site has it fully broken down. I apologize if I don't know that reference. But Gangrel, it was cool seeing Gangrel. He used to live here in the Bay Area for a couple years ago. So I've met him before. But yeah, the Lake of Reincarnation, I like he threw him in. He came back out. Hurricane came back out like his Clark Kent persona on WWE. But I'm with you. I would have popped it with throwing back in there, and he would have came out as a 3 count from WCW. So eventually they all running towards like a warehouse, and Matt and who's his little flying helicopter? His is it
Neo?
Is that the current one?
Yeah, because Vanguard 1 is dead.
Yeah. He tells it, shuts the door, so it's just Matt, Sammy, and the ref inside this warehouse, and you see all the little artifacts from past deletion matches on the compound. But dude, that's when the match really started getting a little hardcore, per se, like the ladder and the table spots, even Sammy trying to use the rope to choke out Matt or like tie him up. So this is when it really kind of escalated, pretty intense there. And I enjoyed this part, and it looked like Sammy Matt was able to get some like return receipts on Sammy, like through the chair in his face, hit him in the face. They went to the table spot again, very similar to All Out, and Sammy busted his head open. And then finally, very much where you hit the chair on their head, like Concerto, like what Randy Orton did for Edge, and vice versa. So he did that spot and got the pin. So Matt Hardy defeated Sammy Guevara. Private Party came in, they threw him in the trash, threw him in the back of the truck, and got a great cameo from Senor Benjamin. I popped out probably the most for him. That's what I was most looking forward to. So even his wife, Matt's wife, played the piano, played the music that we've seen before in the past. And, but yeah, I love this match overall. It was very entertaining. But my question for you is, do you think these cinematic matches have jumped the shark now?
No, I mean, Matt Hardy, he's been kind of the innovator of these cinematic matches in this current era of wrestling that we do live in. Mm-hmm. I mean, and that's what inspired the Boneyard matches and the Firefly Funhouse matches and and all the other deletions that he's done. Mm-hmm. I don't think they've jumped the shark. No, I think they're fine, especially given the character that Matt Hardy portrays.
Yeah,
the exuberant, eccentric Matt Hardy. Yeah. I think it's fine. I really do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like a Hollywood Backlot Brawl, which is the OG cinematic match.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I just think, like, as long as you space them out, they should be okay. Like, if you do one every month or every other month, then it becomes a little overkill. But if you space it out, now, I saw some people complaining about it, like, oh, another cinematic match. Well, keep in mind, you're looking at it like everyone in one pot. Like WWE did a bunch, now AEW is doing one. But if you think about AEW, really only done 2, right? They've done this one, and then they had the Stadium Stampede, if you want to call it
Baker and Big Swole.
Yeah, so but you think about it, that's 3, but that's spread out over the course of the last 6 months. So it's 3 and 6 months for one promotion. But I get it because you combine that with all the WWE ones. So together, collectively, it seems like a lot. But from just one particular promotion, it's only 3. in 6-month time period. So, like I said, it's not as bad from that standpoint. Sure, WWE did a lot at the beginning of the pandemic, but they kind of cooled back a little bit now. So I think for them, they have Thunderdome, so they don't have so much a reason why they need to film stuff outside, because Thunderdome's amazing to film inside as a huge TV studio for themselves. But yeah, like I said, I think they can still exist as long as you just don't overdo it. I think you need to cool it back a little bit. So like I said, maybe once, maybe every 3 months, something like that. If you keep doing it more than that, then I think it will get a little tiring and kind of, especially now you have fans coming in. You want to perform for the fans in-house, and they're not sitting there just watching a big jumbo screen. So, I think there's a very fine balance or fine line for that. So, but yeah, no, I think it's good. If we don't see one for the rest of the year, that's totally fine with me. All right, jumping ahead, we got a couple more matches before we call it a night. MJF taking on Chris Jericho. If MJF wins, he earns a spot in the Inner Circle. I thought this match, for Chris Jericho, to give him credit, man, the dude was still doing lion salts and like a Frankenstein right off the top rope there. I mean, he's still going out in I think his birthday's in a couple days, and I think he's turning 50. So he's still going out there and just kicking ass. So what do you think of this match?
He's still doing moves he did 30 years ago. That's not many people can say that. That's cool. I mean, but this has been in the making for quite some time. MJF realized, if you want to be successful here, you got to need to join a faction. So he's been trying to get in the Inner Circle. They had Le Dinner Debonair, which it's not as bad as people said it was. I thought it was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of musicals per se, but keep in mind these are two heels, and so they're trying to do, I think, a performance or a segment that will kind of piss off people. That's how I kind of interpret it. And
I mean, I look at it like they're the only two people that could have pulled that off.
Yeah, I mean, Jericho was a front man for Fozzy, and MJF.
He could have a career on Broadway.
I know, right? Dude, he has some pretty good pipes on him. So
I mean, I got some vocals too, But
oh, really?
We're not going to go there. Maybe we'll have to go karaoke sometime, Huey.
Absolutely.
But getting back to the match, I mean, yeah. I gave it a B. I thought it was fine. Jericho, MJF gets the Dynamite Dozen ring from Wardlow, and then Jericho gets the bat from Hager.
Hager, yeah.
Almost used the other name. And then MJF was like, so he flips him off. He does the Eddie plays dead. Jericho's like, no, that didn't happen. MJF rolls him up. 1, 2, 3. Maxwell Jacob Friedman is now a part of the Inner Circle.
I know. I think we all kind of knew MJF was going to win this. And it's just interesting. So even though they, beat each other's ass for 15, 16 minutes, afterwards they hugged it out, and Jericho raised his hand and said, "Yeah, welcome to the Inner Circle." And they started playing Inner Circle's music. So and they walked off together, all happy. So I'm like, okay then. So I guess Jericho is cool getting lost, but I guess he figures he's picking up two guys now for the Inner Circle, because he said MJF and Wardlow are part of the Inner Circle. So we'll see how this goes, what turmoil this is going to lead to. Obviously, Sammy Guevara, it doesn't want him there, and, he might piss off the other guys. And so eventually maybe Inner Circle falls apart, and maybe MJF keeps a couple members with him and the other guys follow Jericho. So it could be like a little civil war there. So yeah, we'll see how this plays out. This is, I think, a fine story to keep those guys busy for easily for the next couple months if they write it that long. So looking forward to that. Last but not least, the main event for the AEW World Championship, Jon Moxley defending against Eddie Kingston in an I Quit match. This match was definitely hard hitting, and I'm at the point now, has Moxley done more hardcore related matches than regular matches in AEW now?
Yes.
Right? I mean, I'm at the point where the shock value is not there for me anymore. Like when they brought the bag out of thumbtacks, I'm like, oh my God, what's in there? Oh, thumbtacks. Duh. I mean, it's so obvious. But no, it was hard hitting. Eddie Kingston with the Green Ranger outfit of the night. I thought he looked like a member of the Spirit Squad.
Yeah, it was a tribute to one of his favorite Japanese wrestlers. I forgot the guy's name.
Vinny Masuro, he tweeted it out. oh my God, I forgot the name already.
I forgot the guy's name.
Yeah. But no, the outfit, I was like, okay, I mean, cool if you're trying to pay respect to someone, but I think for a world championship match like that, like, I think just a lot of people who don't know that wrestler, instead they'll just look at just Eddie Kingston's presentation in the outfit and be like, that looks kind of ridiculous. I think he would look better in some other gear. So he looked kind of, I think a lot of people online were like saying, what the F? Like, why are you wearing that in a big moment? So I think it was a little goofy on his part. The match itself was hard hitting. You know, they had some hardcore moments going through some tables. The thumbtack spot, Moxley, got suplexed into it. And then Eddie Kingston, I thought was very creative. Brought out some rubbing alcohol, dumped it on the open wound, so that stinging effect. It was cool.
I've never seen that before. I thought that was very creative. If he had brought out some, oh my God,
salt in the wound.
Yeah, salt in the wound. No. Some peroxide. It would have, like, the cuts would have foamed up, and I'd be like, oh my God, like something dastardly like that. But I mean, he gets barbed wire, puts it around his hand, kind of like the Mick Foley, Terry Funk thing, and punches the guy.
Yeah.
All in all, John, he gets the barbed wire, wraps it around Eddie Kingston's face with the bulldog choke, and he gets the win. And maybe Eddie didn't actually say "I quit." His gimmick is "I didn't lose. Check the rules."
Yeah. So okay, I thought for like Moxley's matches, at times I kind of tune out a little bit. I try because I feel like, okay, he kind of is now starting to do the same thing over and over. He's trying to incorporate hardcore stuff. And this match, he's putting that chokehold on him. And I just felt it was kind of anticlimactic how it played out. And I was just kind of like, they could have done so much more. Like, I saw someone on Twitter, I think it was, and said it would have been such more impactful if maybe, I don't know if they were able to mic it up better, but like maybe Eddie Kingston looking at the ref and says like, I'm sorry, Mom, but I quit. Like, because they've been referencing his mom in some of these promos. So maybe he apologized to his mom, says like, I'm sorry, Mom, but I quit. But yeah, he didn't say it. I didn't hear anything. So I get the ref. Maybe he stopped it because he's trying to protect the wrestler. Sometimes these wrestlers, very much like in UFC or whatever, like they won't actually quit. You got to look out for their best interests and their health. And so maybe that's something they'll follow up on Dynamite this week. Maybe Kingston will call out that ref and be like, hey, why'd you stop the match? I didn't say I quit. And he says, I got to look out for the best interests of the wrestler. So I'm anticipating what's going to happen. Nonetheless, though, I thought it was kind of an anticlimactic way to end this pay-per-view, which up until that point was amazing. So a little bit of a downer. That was one of the low lights for me. So I was kind of hoping he would like clearly yell out, I quit. Didn't get that. So, but overall, good matchup here. And then we saw Kenny Omega come out, casually walk out and they just stare each other down. So it looks like Eddie Kingston's already going to be pushed to the side. All attention now on Moxley versus Kenny Omega. Philip, early predictions. Who's going to win this match?
Has to be Kenny Omega.
Has to be, right?
He's the best bout machine.
Totally.
He's the best wrestler that's not from North Carolina. What's up with the North Carolina thing?
I don't know. There's just references.
I don't get that.
I was just going to say, though, I'm with you. I think Kenny Omega is going to be the one to finally take the title off Jon Moxley. And then Moxley, I don't know what's next for him. Does he take some time off from AEW? Does he go back to New Japan, defend that U.S. championship in some capacity? I don't know. But I think after he loses, you take him off TV for a while and like make people miss him again. That's my big thing. And then Kenny Omega goes on a tear as the champion. I don't know when that match is going to take place. They did announce Revolution. Their next pay-per-view is going to be Saturday, February 27th, 2021. So that's let's see, December, January, February. It's, over 3.5 months away. So that's a long time. So I don't know. Maybe their matchup can happen earlier. Maybe, end of this month, maybe December. Because, you saw Brian.
New Year's edition of Dynamite. Do it there.
Yeah. I mean, you saw like Brian Cage, he won the Casino Battle Royal. He fought Moxley a few weeks later. Lance Archer, he won that battle royal he was in and challenged Moxley not too soon after. So maybe with Kenny Omega, maybe they have their matchup sooner than later. So I'm all for that. You know, if they want to get the title off him sooner, and then that way Kenny can go on a tear as champion. So exciting stuff. Overall, I love this pay-per-view. So much fun. I'm actually going to go back and try to watch a couple matches over again. Just there was so much to see as we're all trying to do live tweeting and all that stuff. So kudos to everyone involved, and thank you AEW for putting on an awesome pay-per-view. So, all right, let's go home and let's go ahead and wrap it up for tonight. Philip, where can all the Kliqsters find you online?
Heel Antoine, HeelAntWine on the Twitter, on the Instagram. The Bulletcast Instagram and YouTube at Bulletcast on Twitter. Diamonds are forever. So is the Microphone Messiah. Huey, at Survivor Series, I'm coming for my championship.
I'm on was it a month winning streak now or title reign?
Yeah.
How long is it now?
But I have no idea. I have to look.
And I'm Baby Huey. Follow me on Facebook at Baby Huey Official, Twitter and Instagram at Baby Huey 83. As I mentioned at the top of the show, follow In The Kliq on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Please rate, comment, share the podcast. That helps out so much. Thank you to all the Kliqsters out there and everyone else who's been sharing, liking, commenting on everything we've been doing thus far to this point. We appreciate all the love and support. And on that note, let's go home. And that's the bottom line because Huey said so.